Yo, what's going on everyone? Welcome to Mikey's Bad Boy S2000 tutorial video. Let's get started. Okay, so that intro was completely unnecessary, but I just wanted to do it because I wanted to do it.
Oh, okay.
So there's already some Akai S2000 videos on YouTube. They're not bad, yeah. If you just watch them there. But none of them are actually like in-depth tutorials on how to get started with just understanding how it works and stuff, so this video is just for that basically. And another link I got up is eBay, just to show you the crazy prices they go for. Like £40. Yeah, they're so cheap. I got one for like £20, and some people will probably give them away for free. Yeah, so you shouldn't be paying over like £50. Now, before I get started, I just want to give some shout outs. Shout out to Tonic DB, because you had two of these bad boys, and I don't think you got them anymore, but you've used them, so shout out to you. Shout out to Sam Hexadeci. He's got one, but I don't think you're doing anything with it. And Polygirl, AJ, Amiga Junglism, also a couple of the other Akai Dons like Martin Bow. Also shout out to Lee Saunders. These are just some users I've come across. Kush, DJ Eprom, and someone's modded is Akai to have like some fancy like display and that's CP665533, so shout out to you, because you got a nice looking 2000 there with all blue LEDs and stuff. This is just a stock. So yeah, I absolutely love the S2000 and I like it so much I even got a second one.
Oh, okay.
I'll just show you inside, because there's some things I want to point out about the difference between like a stock S2000 and when you've chuffed it up. Okay, so time to open her up. There's only 5 screws, just 2 on the side and 1 on the back. This is really hard to do with one hand, but we'll get there. So this came out in '95, and basically it's like a budget sampler, and it comes with hardly anything useful that you'd expect on the other S series, so you've got to buy all these accessories. I think it costs like just under £1,000, just under 1,000 quid back in '95, I think. And there should be one on the back. Oh no, it's missing. So that, oh, that's nice. Wasn't expecting that. So yeah, as you can see, there's nothing in there. You don't get the 8 outs. This is only 2 megabytes, I think. No, it's not. Well, normally it would be, but there's already some memory in there. And then I've never come across these. I think these are flash cards or something. And then good luck trying to find the filter board. I've got one. Are you jealous? I've got one on the other one, but they're hard to find. And then the EB16 goes there. In fact, let's now open up this one. And this is completely maxed out. So this is my baby. I love you. Now a shout out to Corner Store Superheroes, because you're the actual guy who asked me to do this tutorial. So I'm gonna try and make it as simple as possible to understand this thing. Basically, if you're not used to the way archives work from the S2000 up, then this is going to be a good video, because I'm just going to show you the basics.
Basically, that's the basics
to get you started. So I think the reason people don't like the s2000 is this little display, and then it just puts people off. But I think you get used to it once you've played with it for about a couple of days.
And basically it was all numbers, and I used to look at it and get a headache.
I've already heard all the jokes like yeah, the S2000 makes good paperweight, or it's good door stopper and stuff. I'm gonna divide this video up into 3 sections basically. So chapter 1 being like recording samples, then secondly editing samples, and then finally the program edit. And that's going to be the one that takes a long time to do, but we'll get there. Right, the first thing you need is a system disk. So that's the first thing I recommend. The second thing I recommend is probably just getting the extra RAM. I mean, you can get up to like 32 megabyte, but you might be alright with just 16. And that only takes like 5 seconds to load. Now, I've got 2 very big warnings to warn you about on this dodgy operating system. What's this one? I think that's version 2, I'm not sure. Basically, the biggest warning I've got for anyone using this for the first time is you can actually make it freeze. This is really frustrating, because I made a full tune and then I hadn't saved anything, and then I think I went to global, and I was just thinking, oh yeah, what's all through these pages and stuff. You know, I've actually got some useful things in there, like the format disk, and I just kept going and kept going. Then I got to this page, hard disk dat backup, execute partition, but look at that, I'm pressing all the buttons, it's frozen up. Oh no!
No! God, please, no! No! No!
And then of course the only thing you can do is power it off, and then again you've lost all your work. So that is a very big warning.
Warning, 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 warning.
And the second thing I'd like to warn you about, but this is probably more of a tip than a warning, like as soon as you get it on, go to single edit and then hit the next page, and then hit F2 and put the MIDI channel up to 16 to sort of kick it out of the way. I'll explain this tip later on, but if you remember to do that after you've turned it on, then it'll be really easy, and I'll explain why I did that later on. So then, chapter 1. recording the sample is just like any other Akai really. You just go through like a Microsoft Wizard type page setup. The first thing we got is name, so I'm just going to, this is probably the easiest part of using the sampler, just recording a sample basically. And then you hit the next page and you get length, like 5 seconds, bandwidth, 10k, 20k, it doesn't, I like 10k. And then you got either stereo or mono sampling. And then I haven't actually got anything in the input yet, so I'll just do that now. Right, and now you just get a good level in there. Next page, an arm. Well, that'll do. And then straight away after you've done your first sample, you should be able to hit play. Let me just set up the levels properly, hang on. So yeah, you just press play and you hear it straight away. And the only annoying thing about recording samples is the whole naming them before you actually record them, because unlike the other Akais where you got the alphabet straight in front of you on the buttons, you have to use this dial, which is a bit slow, but you should get used to it. Anyway, so that's the first section over and done with. On to chapter 2. To start editing your samples, you just go to sample edit.
Oh, okay.
And you select your sample. There's already some waveforms in there. And by the way, these waveforms sound nothing like they should do. That doesn't sound like a sine. That doesn't sound like a square. That's the only one that's true. Sort of pulse, I guess. Yeah, it sounds like a pulse. But you might as well delete them because they are pointless. I mean, if I would have kept the sine wave if it actually sounded like a sine wave. Right, so we got a little sort of breakbeat there, and then you basically just go through all the pages again with the parameters. Ignore pitch. I normally just leave that as it is. Normalize level. Start point. Now this is where you just and then point. This is where you cut and discard the before the start time and after the end point to save space, obviously. Looping, I'll get into that later. I mean, mostly what you're going to be doing is just trimming to start with. And then once you got all your samples, or at least most of them, you can then start organising them in your program. So let's get ready for the next chapter, huh? So all Akai samplers work with programs, and basically
that's the basics.
the program contains 4 things: the name of the program, the MIDI channel, the output, and key. Sorry, that's right. And key groups. So basically, all programs will have at least one key group, and basically what a key group is just that, a group of keys. So like, that could be a key group from C to G, or E to A, or you can have it like this, just short. They could be really like wide or quite small like that. And the first, like the default key group, is always like the lowest to the highest. So you go to span and you can see that, so the low key is like the lowest, and then the high is the highest. And then the next important page, and by the way, group just skips to like the most important pages, and then going through the normal page just goes through every page there is. So the most important pages, according to Akai, are the MIDI channel, monitoring, tuning, output level, velocity, number of key groups, and assigning a sample to that key group. Got the zone 2, 3, 4. I'll explain the zone things in a minute. Envelope presets, and then like filters and blah 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 blah. Right, and if you want to go back to the start of the first page very quickly, just hit single edit again. Now back to page 1. So first we want to assign like a sample to that key group. There it is, zone 1 assign, and then that question mark's up there because it can't find this sample because I deleted it, and there's the sample I just took. Now I don't have MIDI connected up at the moment, but basically if I had to play the keyboard it would change in pitch. But if you go to zone 1 keyboard track and you change it to constant, no matter where you hit on the keyboard it's going to be the same pitch. Right, now what I'm going to do is go back into sample edit, and I'm going to make copies of the sample and then try and split them up. So copy, 2 copy, 3 copy, 4 copy, 5 copy. So I got 5 copies of the same sample. I'm going to go to number 2 and just chop Right, so I've got 5 different samples now. Then you go back to key groups and copy it 4 times. Now then, here's the tip. If you go up to all key groups, and it's just, I'll explain on MS Paint what is happening. So if we now make all the key groups the same, so C3, now you can see they're all the same. Then just go up the keyboard. With the other Akai samplers, you can actually just have a little, if you've got a MIDI in, then you can toggle on and off a MIDI input, and you can just hit the key on your actual keyboard and it will come up. But this one isn't as clever, so you have to do it by hand, unfortunately, but it's not too bad actually. E, and you use your outer wheel to go through the key groups, just like that. Then hit the group, just a shortcut to the next important page. Assign. So key group 1 we got that. Key group 2 I want number 2, 3, 4, 5. Is this making sense? I hope it is. And then I actually want the pitch to be constant on all of them, which it is. So there we have it. That wasn't too bad actually. So this program, I actually labelled it Breaks Program, and I've kept the test program on there. That's important you keep that on there, because you can't create new programs from scratch. You have to copy an existing program. So if you keep this one on there and then you just have it pushed out the way so it doesn't mess up your like MIDI workflow, you can just copy that and you've got a clean sheet of parameters to play with, and then you just use the data wheel to select your program. So now I want to make a bass program, so I select test, go name, label it bass. Yeah, I know, I like to spell bass like that. Copy. So now if we go to the home page, I see we got 3 programs. Right, what I'm going to do now is select a MIDI channel for that one where I put the break bits on there. So it's 16, and I just pull it all the way back to 1 for now. Omni is all the MIDI channels together is stupid, really, ignore that. Also ignore program number, because if you change that to any number other than 1, you won't get any sound. It's actually for program changes, which I've never used and probably never will, so Ignore that, just keep it at 1. So now I've actually put a MIDI cable in its backside. Okay, it's not working. What? What have I done wrong? Hang on a minute. That's weird. MIDI channel 1. Output left and right. I've got it in the right one, haven't I? Then maybe I just got a dodgy cable or something. Let's try turning it off and on again. Okay, it's weird. That's weird. Hooray! Right, I think I just had a dodgy MIDI cable. So it's working now. I know it's not the best sample actually, but just for this video it will do for now. So if I was to go to keyboard track, and it will just go up in pitch, and you don't really want this, but oh, it's not doing it. Oh, because I didn't select all key groups. Right. So yeah, it's done it now. Okay, with the zones, most of the time you're just going to be using zone 1. The extra 3 zones are basically just ways to stack more than one sample on a key group. And each zone has parameters like, so all 4 zones get the same parameters, and those are fine tuning, level, filter, velocity, that keyboard track I was on about. And then, as you can see, I haven't assigned anything in zone 2 or 3 or 4 because the question mark's there and there's nothing there, so that's that. And now I think it's time to go on to some tips. So the first tip I want to show you is how to get a really crunchy sound, because it is 16-bit, but you can resample to a lower bandwidth. I think it sounds really good actually. So you have to rename the sample you're about to do it to make a new sample. It's low bandwidth, quality 1. That sort of setting should go quite crunchy. So here's the original, and then here's the That sounds crunchy to me. So that's one tip. The second tip is this getting really accurate chops on drums and breaks and stuff. And the way to do that is, before you copy your break sample to be chopped, like the moment before you copy it, like pitch it down to like at least an octave below. Yeah, it's backwards, but and then once you get to the knife, you can get really accurate cuts, because obviously being slower you got more airtime before the attack of the sample, so you can get right in there and get a really clean chop. So that's that tip. And obviously you have to pitch them all back up in your program, because they will be like an octave down. Right, what am I doing? Yeah, the next tip is called a s2000 flange, and this is how to get a flange sound without actually having the effects board in there. So you go to s2000 and you select the same sample as you got in zone 1, and then make sure you whack the high velocity up, otherwise it just won't trigger. And then go back to semi-sense. So that's probably a little louder now because I've double stacked it, and then just that will do. That's like the rate of your flange, if you like. You can hear that, hopefully. So that's a good tip. Right, the next tip is called a poor man's delay. This is how to get like a sort of delay type sound without having a effects unit. So it doesn't actually sound like a proper delay, but to do this, you select the sample and then you just loop a portion of the end, and then you want to make sure the loop type is loop and release. Loop at point, I don't know. I'll make it longer. When you're making it longer, it's not like the end point going to the end of the sample, it's actually the start point of the sample going backwards to the start when you increase that. So if you can picture that in your head, you'll be able to understand where it's looping and stuff. Okay, it's not perfect, but I'll just leave it at that. Leave it on hold. Ignore that. And now you go to your program. I'm going to set up another key group actually. So copy F, assign that sample with the loop on it. And now I go to envelope 1 and just whack the release time up. So if I hold the sample down on the keyboard and let go, it's just like a little delay trick, isn't it? So poor man's delay. Thank you to Dim Ward for reminding me of that trick. So shout out to you, mate. And there's some other tips, ones I've seen on the internet, like apparently you can do a high pass filter without actually needing this filter board in there. So well, you all know what a high pass filter sounds like. Anyway, someone found out you could put your sample in like Audacity or Call Edit Pro or anything like that, and then if you invert the sample, I think this is what you do, you invert the sample, that's not reverse, so you just invert like the negative and positive spikes, and then you put that back in the S2000, probably not recording in there because there might be a bit of a phase problem. So if you can find out a way to load the sample in another way, like on disk or something, you might need Omniflop or something, and then I think what you do is you put the inverted sample alongside the original, and then it's something to do with mucking about with the low pass filter, and then the science of it somehow makes it sweep in a high pass filter. I've never tried it, so you have to look onto that one. I think there's a thread on Dogs on Acid, but it's a lot of fuss to go through. But anyway, another tip is to get a zip drive, something like this. Where is it? You've all seen Omega. I recommend that. That's more of a recommendation rather than a tip. There's also something called Mesa, which I've never used, but from what I've read it's a little buggy, so wait till someone comes up with a better editor, basically. And that's it, I think. I'll now just do my own pros and cons, which I've written down. So my pros would be, it's got the classic Echo punch that you want, and another pro would be, it's really good how you could just flick through the key groups with the outer wheel. That's genius, that. Another pro is they look good. I think they look really sexy.
Yeah, well, you know, that's just like your opinion, man.
Cons would be things that take a lot of time. They use up your time. Things like naming samples and programs using the dial with the alphabet. That's annoying. And the other con would be, yeah, the span editing, because on all the other Echo samplers you get a little toggle, like I said, for MIDI input. Where is it? Well, I did show you, didn't I? So, and that's the only cons I can think of. I hope you enjoyed the video. Please thumbs up. If you like what you see, subscribe. If you don't like what you see, don't.
But it's not chopped completely. We could actually take that break, the whole of that break, and split each individual kick, snare, roll and hi-hat. And this is how it all starts, really. Do you know what I mean? And this is how it all starts, really. Do you know what I mean?